talks from the crypt.
The drugs are really good, man.
The drugs are top notch. You can afford them now.
yeah, exactly.
Well, let's get into some of these crypt notes. So here on the show, we like to end our interviews by running through some crypt notes, random trivia, rumors, or potential myths that have spread over the internet. And you guys are the experts, so let's find out if some of these are true. I'll just fire these off, and you guys just give your input on it.
All right.
Roger.
By the way, this is a side note. This will be cut out. Some of these are, very obvious that I think everybody knows, but we wanted to throw them in for, anybody who didn't know, or just those fun ones.
Sure.
There were alternate endings to the Blair Witch, including different fates for one or more of the characters.
Yeah, there was. We shot not really the fate of the characters. I mean, early on there was, we were kind of toying with the idea that we didn't know if we were going to pull Mike out or Josh out. We knew we were going to take one of them out, and I think somewhere along the line we decided to take Josh out instead of Mike. But then the ending, when we got to Sundance, we sold the film, and then Artisan came back to us and said, hey, we need to, people don't understand the ending and this and that. And they were like, would you guys reshoot the ending maybe? And they offered us some pretty good cash, and we hadn't been paid yet for our, we hadn't delivered the film
That's
yet.
where they
we were
get
like,
you.
Yeah, that's where they get you. It took months for them to pay us. So they gave us, crazy more money than we had for the actual movie, and we came back to Maryland and shot some alternate endings. But we shot you can actually see them on the Blu-ray. I think just the different alternate endings of just the Heather coming down the stairs and what she sees. Mike in different like he's hanging in one thing. He's like on a stick man. He's on a stick figure. He's like tap dancing, I think, in one of them, right, Dan? He was like doing a little dance or something. No,
they were basically all the endings that we just shelved before shooting.
Yeah, and luckily Artisan was cool with us and said, we'll go with your whatever ending you want, and we were like, we like the original ending, so but yeah, we definitely thought about the ending a lot. Even during editing, we thought about that ending a lot. And during the shooting, we didn't come up with that ending till about 3 days before we shot it. So it was very stressful.
What's interesting about it is how anybody was confused about the original ending. I mean, wasn't it said that they were sent into the basement in twos and one had to face the corner?
Yes. Dan, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, the original cut of the movie didn't have that little tidbit in there where it was basically Mike standing in the corner, which visually is really creepy. I mean, I think Ed and I both agreed that something off kilter about it. I mean, one of the struggles with coming up with an ending, especially something as unconventional as Blair, is you wanted it to have a payoff, some kind of like you've been taking the audience on this journey for 80 and 90 minutes. So you can't just like cut to black and let the credits roll. So you wanted to have some sort of big payoff, but at the same time, you didn't want to undermine the premise, like reveal some witch in a costume or alien or whatever, which would have kind of blown the whole premise. So we had to strike a balance between something that would be really creepy and potentially scary, but still hold true to the kind of conceit where it was ambiguous enough that where you couldn't really tell what was going on and debate it later on. And so the original cut of the film, I think, kind of skewed a little bit more to the ambiguous side. We did a test screening in New Jersey, which there was a lot of hands about the question of what was Mike doing in the corner and this and that. And even though it was scary, it just felt like a kind of a loose end. And then we just came up with the idea of like, during those reshoots, we shot an additional interview in the town where the guy brings up the fact that Rusted Parr made the kids stand in the corner while he slaughtered the other ones in the room. And so we put that little bit in there, which helped to tie it all up. And that, I think, kind of put that ending right where it needed to be. But still, to this day, it's a very talked about, kind of controversial, polarizing aspect of the film. But that's, it's better than being boring, I think. So, but yeah, we did several different versions of an ending because of that ambiguity was scaring the studio, and honestly, it was scaring us too. But
yeah,
but I think that sometimes the less is more approach works. And despite all that extra shooting that we did, that one little interview segment in town sort of did the trick.
Yeah, I mean, we basically used the money that they gave us to not only shoot alternate endings, but to shoot an explanation, a little interview that would help us sell our original ending more.
Yeah.
So it was very, very devious of us, very underhanded the way we did that. But again, Artisan was great. They were a great collaborator, and they could have, they could have forced us to go with any ending they wanted, but they let us choose. So we were really happy about that.
And I have to credit like Bill Block, who was co-president there of Artisan at the time. He really was championing the movie, and I think he really liked us as filmmakers, and he's that kind of guy. And so I think John Hageman and Bill Block were big fans of the film. They just liked the movie. So yeah, we did, and they were a fairly modest distribution company in those days. They had a lot to prove. They had done Pi the year before, which was pretty successful, but they weren't the Miramaxes or the big players on the space. Yeah. So they were a bit more collaborative than they otherwise may have been had it been a Miramax or something.
The bundle of sticks delivered to Heather and Mike, wrapped up with Joss's shirt, contained actual teeth and hair.
Yep, that was also something that like people don't, because we show it for so little amount of time, people don't know what it is. But yeah, people are like, is that a tongue? Is that an ear? I'm like, it was teeth. We got it from a dentist, and then we clipped some hair. I don't know if it was Josh's hair or maybe whatever, but yeah, it was hair and teeth, basically.
The teeth came from somebody that's their kind of a cameo in the movie. We'll never know where the teeth came from.
Yeah, they'll come back and sue us because we didn't get a release on their teeth.
Right.
I thought it was flesh the first time I saw it.
Yeah, it looks very fleshy.